So welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Brian Norman Jr. knocks out, and I mean cold, JIN Sasaki over in Japan in the fifth round. Did I expect a one-punch knockout? It was always possible because Sasaki is so cavalier, so open defensively, so come forward that you thought, if anyone does have one-punch power, they'll knock him out. I did think it would be more of a grinding down process, but having said that, Norman, for the 4 rounds and 46 seconds that it lasted, Norman displayed power that we have seen before. He does hit a lot harder than perhaps people give him credit for. And I think the reason for that is that he's in no shape or form a slugger. His technique is absolutely beautiful, and when you get someone like that, people often overlook the power because they're thinking about the skills, the poise. I use the word maturity in my preview video, and that he's only 23, this kid, but he's a bit special. This Brian Norman Jr. I mean, he really is. His victories over at Santillan. And then his first defense, which was ended in a 3-round knockout against a guy called, I think it's called Palomino. I mean, Norman Jr. is a threat, and it would have been good to see him fight Boots Ennis, but Boots is moving up to 154, probably not before time, because Brian Norman Jr. and Boots Ennis, if Boots could have made the weight, would have been a fantastic fight. It really would have done. But this was an exemplary performance against, like I say, against a guy he's very, very open defensively, storms forward, throwing huge hooks, hits hard. Sasaki, I'm talking about now. But from the word go, I thought Norman might sort of not weather the storm, but just for a couple of rounds, have a look at Sasaki and, try and soak up a bit of power, see what he had coming at him. Not a bit of it, because within about a minute and a half, Norman had scored 2 knockdowns. The first one was a very long left hook that landed slap bang on a wide open Sasaki, put him over. And then, 30 seconds later, he was on the floor again from a combination that ended with a right hand, come over the top, put him over, sort of splashed him on the canvas. And Sasaki did well to get out of the round. He really did. Now, in the second round, you're thinking, okay, is this going to be more of the same? Well, Norman sort of settled down. Again, he didn't panic. There's a real, and again, I use the word maturity. If a 23-year-old kid to fight like this with this type of mentality, it's really a sight to behold. You don't get many 23-year-olds who have that sort of instinctive boxing IQ and that sort of inherent confidence. This was Norman's first trip to Japan, and it was like he was in his own backyard. He boxed aggressively in the second round. Sasaki came back a little bit, but I still gave Norman the round. In the third round, Norman really started to go to work again, go through the gears. Again, there was an almost effortless pounding. Yeah, I was even thinking, well, is Norman using up too much power, too much energy here? I don't know. And then in the fourth round, in the third, certainly the second half of the third and the fourth round, Norman was just doing what he wanted to. Sasaki game as hell, constantly throwing these wide hooks. Every time Norman connected, Sasaki looked shaken, as if he was genuinely hurt. It's not like his legs were doing a funny dance. They didn't look that steady, but it was more a case of him being pushed to the ropes, being railed on. And Norman was picking his punches perfectly. Both these guys, orthodox fighters. When Norman had Sasaki on the ropes, he was threading through some lovely straight punches, mixing it up with uppercuts. There was a couple of body punches going in there. If you want to be ultra picky, you could say maybe Norman could have banged to the body a bit more. But then in the fifth round, he lowered the boom. And what a boom it was. It was an enormous left hook, landed slap bang on the target being Sasaki's jaw. Sasaki hit the deck flat on his back, out cold, essentially. I think he was taken from the ring on a stretcher. They certainly had a stretcher in the ring. I don't know whether I think they put him on the stretcher. He was conscious, I think, but this was a shocking knockout. I mean, it really was a proper knockout, not a TKO. This was a knockout, and in all honesty, he was outclassed. I mean, Norman is a terrific 147-pound fighter, and should be looking to unify now. He should be looking for other belts, because this kid can really fight. Sasaki will always sell tickets because he's extremely fun to watch. He's very, very cavalier, very, very exciting. Kill or be killed, as his KO percentage, which is very high, reveals. But, there's power, there's sort of marauding power, the type that Sasaki has, where he's just loading up with wide hooks, and then there's a refined, cold-blooded type of power that Norman Jr. has, where he picks the power. He picks what punches are going to have knockout written all over them. And a very, very good fighter, Brian Norman Jr. Now that Boots has gone up to 154, I think we can safely say that this guy, America's got another very, very good welterweight, and I'd like to see him unify the belts, become undisputed champion. He's perfectly capable of doing it. It really is. So I'm actually, as you may be able to tell by this lovely Travelodge room, I'm actually doing a bit of travelling. But I was going to, the Japanese card had some other good fights on it, which I haven't had a chance to cover because I just, got things to do. I've been busy. But I had to get this one in and go and have a look. It's a Top Rank promotion. It was on, like I say, it was over in Japan. Top Rank have close connections with a lot of Japanese fighters, not least of all, of course, Naoya Inoue. But go and have a look if you can see this. Maybe someone will post it on YouTube briefly. Go and have a look at it, because it's worth seeing this guy go to work, this Norman Jr. guy. Very, very good fighter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching the vid, and please hit the like button if you liked it, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you very, very much, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.